As we did for the first passage, we're simply going to read the passage. That's how we're going to start this analysis. So I will say, first of all, pause the video and read the entire passage. You'll find it below this video, and after that, we'll work through the passage together. Okay, let's take a look at the passage itself. Not only have different organizational theories of white-collar workspaces reflected different conceptions of workplace hierarchies, but they have also influenced competing notions of productivity. That is a fascinating opening sentence. So we're talking about white-collar workspaces and how they're organized, and these reflect both different ideas of hierarchy, different ideas of how power is played out in the workspace, but it also reflects different notions of productivity. So we're going to be paying attention to these themes that were announced in the first sentence. For example, in a more traditional workplace, managers, supervisors, and other senior employees might have individual offices separating them from the junior workers and administrative support seated in rows of identical desks or cubicles. Okay, so now we're talking about the organization of an office. This layout was devised on the theories of Frederick Taylor, who believed that as much as industrialization and mechanization had enabled once impossible levels of productivity, so too could regimentation of space and time via strict work schedules enable lower-level white-collar employees to work as efficiently as those laboring on assembly lines. So very interesting. This is one notion of productivity. How do you make these people productive? Well, make the workplace, the white-collar workplace, as factory-like as possible. So this is one of the conceptions. Nevertheless, from the mid-20th century onward, psychologists and sociologists have found that such depersonalization, treating workers as cogs and machines, weakens morale and results in less efficiency, not more. So the passage is telling us quite clearly it's not a fan of this factory-like organization. So this is one notion of productivity, and the passage is sharply disagreeing that this is really the best way to treat people or to make them the most productive. Okay, so now we'll see what the passage has to say in the second paragraph. The most common modern alternatives to the traditional regimented office space are the models employing a free-form office organization. Okay, a different organizational plan here. Sociologists advocating the open office layout have argued that these layouts, in which workers commingle in shared spaces, signal a rejection of traditional workplace hierarchies, encouraging employees at all levels within the organization to work in close proximity, and thereby allowing lower-level employees to access more experienced employees rather than sequestering those senior workers in discrete assigned offices separated by doors. Okay, so what we're getting here is an argument. We're getting a discussion of the open office space. We're getting a sociologist's argument. So in other words, this is not actually factual. This is somebody's opinion. And it sounds reasonable. Okay, maybe the open office workout does do all these things. But remember, we're being told somebody's opinion right now. The next sentence begins theoretically. So we're getting more opinions, more philosophy and ideas. Theoretically, in such a workplace, apprenticeship, collaboration, and communication are highly valued, expanding the purview of productivity from merely a worker's concrete output within a narrowly defined field to his or her abstract contributions to the overall culture, knowledge base, or vision of the organization as a whole. All right, so a few things to notice about this paragraph. So now it seems that what's happening. Notice that in the previous paragraph, we found a little about the factory organization, and the passage was very clear saying this doesn't really work. And now we're getting this discussion of the open office space organization, and we're at least getting lots of arguments about why this is fantastic, about all the good things that will result from open office spaces. But remember, this is all theoretical right now. Move on to the third paragraph. The practical consequences of open office layouts are mixed. Very interesting. So we got pure positive in the second paragraph. That was theory. And now we're going to get the actual how it plays out where the rubber meets the road. And it sounds like some positive and some not so positive. So we'll read on. As one would expect, workers in such layouts report considerably higher levels of collaboration than do those in traditional regimented office spaces, and managers consistently report the positive impact of this collaboration. So that's good. Shared access to sophisticated technological equipment is also essential in the modern workplace, although some equipment does not allow more than one user at a time. Okay, interesting. So sounds like in some cases it doesn't really matter where you put this piece of instrument if only one person could use it at a time. Interesting. At the same time, there have been unintended drawbacks. So we had some positive things happen, and here's the shift in the paragraph. Okay, hold on. Those are the good things. Here are the not good things. In one survey of U.S. workers conducted in 2013, 2/3 of respondents indicated that the noise level in their offices tend to disturb them while they worked. Employee-sponsored use of modern noise-canceling headphones may address this concern to some extent. All right, so that's one problem, and maybe there's a solution for it. Another study showed that the spread of illness in open office spaces was more pervasive in a traditional office spaces, resulting in more employees having to take sick leave, a loss of productive time for workers and organizations alike. Okay, so that's interesting. That's something that the theorists hadn't thought about at all. That if there's germs in the office, in an open office space, those germs just get spread around and shared. So then the closing sentence, many workers have reported some level of dissatisfaction with these aspects of open office layouts, even when they appreciate the theory and benefits of this design. So that's a fascinating closing sentence. So this is the evaluation that workers have of the open office spaces. And it says two things. First of all, that they do appreciate the theory and they do appreciate the benefits. And there are some clear benefits from this. But there's also some dissatisfaction. In other words, it's not utopia on earth. There are pluses and minuses. Now notice that the whole passage now, paragraph number 1 was introducing this original kind of design, this earlier design, and it completely dissed it. Okay, that we're not interested in that design. That one doesn't work. And then the following 2 paragraphs are talking about, they're focusing on the open office layout, about all the theoretical benefits of it, and then how it plays out. So we're kind of evaluating the open office layout. And so something along those lines seems to be the main point of the paragraph, of exploring the open office layout and then evaluating it. Now again, I'll point out that, of course, in reading this, I was talking a lot. And I was pausing to give my analysis as I went through so that you'd see my thought process. Of course, you wouldn't be doing this during the test. You would just read through. But the hope is that you'll be reading through with the same kind of analytical mind as you explore the passages. So now we've read this passage, we can take a look at some questions about this passage.